Good morning, friends. Well, dawn is yet to set in. It's still dark, the cold has held its sway. But then again, at this hour, when the mind is somewhat free from the memories of the past, one tries to convey some quintessential impressions which emanate straight from the heart. This is a time when the world sleeps, when the world is somewhat silent, and one tends to speak out in terms which mean a lot, which express a lot. In the course of our day-to-day existence, amidst the monotony, amidst the fret and fever of life, one continues to remain rather perplexed, perturbed, and agitated, and without a trace of vacillation, one indulges in things, one indulges in what you call the aggression of competitive thinking, the aggression of extreme ambition to meet the urgency of living. One needs to prove his or her own existence, and one needs to define a cause for oneself. The thing is that in this process of compromising with our instincts and impulses, our quintessential sublime and sterling perceptions and notions, in this process of compromise, in this process of our blind material pursuits, we have lost all connection with the sublime. We have lost our kinship with nature. We have lost our attachment with the varied objects which intrinsically cast a mellowing effect upon the heart. In fact, we have lost the heart. We have left the heart at a place where hardly does one go and explores or delves deep into its intricacies. Well, life goes on, and we follow a specific course, a course which has set itself on its own now, and we are not ready to change that course because that course is already predestined and it's already predefined. As far as our own individuality is concerned, no doubt, most of us, we have compromised with our own individuality. The reason is our society defines our individuality on its own terms, and when we are ready to compromise with the written word without bothering to coin or write a single word on our own, this basically is a second-hand existence of ours. We are not ready to break from the known which we have known till date. The world is so full of turbulence, it's so full of tumult. The outward show, the superficiality, the hypocrisy, it continues unabated. The relentless pursuit of pleasure, which we want to treasure, that becomes our sole aim now. It becomes very important in times such as these that we dedicate some time for ourselves, that we dismantle the bonds, the threads which have so far guided and goaded us towards an enigmatic unknown. It becomes very difficult nowadays to adjust, to relate to things which perhaps in one way or other make us maimed, make us crippled when it comes to expressing our very own. We remain silent, we remain mum just because we want to justify our threats, we just want to justify our bonds, we just want to justify our attachments. It becomes very important now to break away from all that which to an extent have become absurd and preposterous. It becomes very important to delve deep into the heart and to express what we really want to express. All those things which cause or emanate loss of self-esteem, loss of self-respect, loss of the veneration that which we deserve. Well, one should come up and stand against all those things and discard and dismantle that which have become meaningless altogether. It's a life where one needs to live for oneself. It's a life nowadays where one needs to love one's own existence. It's a life nowadays where one needs to understand the problem of dependence. Until and unless we stand up against these challenges of time and understand this entire problem of dependence, the entire problem of banking upon people who tend to mock us, who tend to become cynics, who tend to become our greatest critics, who tend to speak behind our backs. Until and unless we understand the psychological intricacies of life, well, we won't be unconditionally free. It becomes very important to stretch our arms, to stretch our limbs now, to stretch our inclinations, our propensities, and to live a life which to an extent would be free of strife in futurity if one is able to understand this problem of dependence. Until and unless the definition emanates on its own, straight from the heart, the definition emanates from the chambers of one's own experience. Well, until and unless if this happens, life would be too arduous to carry on taking into account the current impacts and the current imprints which no doubt tend to pose as a hindrance or a bar, and basically these things taken all together, all the adverse circumstances, the psychological intricacies and barriers, they no doubt tend to cast a negative effect upon the very core of our existence. We need to rejuvenate ourselves anew, keeping in touch with certain things. Obviously, the count may be few, but we need to follow our own path. We need to recreate the track. We need to recreate all that is possible to give us, to impart us a sense of longing for life, because that's what life is meant for. Thank you.